Are you good enough to safely land a glider if the tow rope breaks on launch at only 200 feet above ground? That and much more on today's special edition of Aviation Intrigue.
This is Aviation Intrigue.
Welcome to Aviation Intrigue. We are going to get to that emergency rope break and other maneuvers a little later in this episode. But today we are doing things a little differently. We are going to take you to our glider operations in Hartford, Wisconsin, so that you can experience firsthand the joys of glider flying. We fly out of Hartford Municipal Airport, which is conveniently located just north of the town of Hartford, which is about 45 minutes northwest of Milwaukee. We have members from Madison, Green Bay, Appleton, and across the state of Wisconsin. And this was recorded on a beautiful early September day, late summer. Remember the rope we talked about earlier? It is a braided nylon rope approximately 200 feet long and specifically designed to carry the weight of the glider. Once the pilots are situated in the glider, it is secured to typically the underbelly of the glider using specific hooking mechanisms. It is so critical for us to make sure that the attachment is secure so the glider does not come loose during a launch. On the other side of this rope is a tow plane. In our case, it's a Piper Pawnee. When the rope is securely attached to the tow plane and the glider, the tow plane takes its position on the runway, moving slowly to take the slack off the rope. When the glider pilot signals to the tow plane, then the propeller is advanced. Notice the blowing debris behind the tow plane. We're going to talk about this a little later. Also note that the glider comes off the ground a little sooner before the tow plane, and we teach our students to keep the glider low to the ground until the tow plane begins its climb. To keep our efficient operations, we start loading a second glider while the first one is in the air. We have experienced people, both pilots and instructors, to help the passengers or students get in the glider and secure themselves safely. Despite being small, the glider is actually a pretty comfortable environment for most people. Avionics in a glider is rather minimal compared to most powered planes. When the glider reaches a certain altitude, the pilot pulls a lever in the cockpit that detaches the rope from the front of the glider. It is customary for the tow plane and the glider to go opposite directions to make sure they are separated in midair. It's also very important to make sure the rope is completely detached from the glider. What happens to the rope? We'll talk about that later. While all that is going on, members who own their own sailplanes are getting their gliders ready for launch. We use golf carts or ATVs to retrieve the gliders from their tie-down points or their trailers to the launch area. This particular day, we had a member with a beautiful label that is getting set up for a launch. Also getting set up for launch is a gorgeous Schleicher ASW-24, a high-performance glider that has been finished with a beautiful-looking polyurethane coat, which makes the glider incredibly efficient. The extended wingtips make the performance even better on this glider. In the meanwhile, after dropping off the glider at the desired altitude, the tow plane is ready to return to the airfield for landing. We follow published procedures and traffic patterns to ensure the safety of gliders and the powered aircraft that operate on the field. And remember we asked about what happens to the tow rope? Well, the tow rope is still attached to the back of the tow plane, and when the tow plane lands, the rope comes down along with it. The tow plane pilot is an experienced pilot who knows how to maneuver the aircraft in the air and on the ground with the tow rope behind it. The ground support crew has gotten this next glider ready for launch. This one is flying someone who is in a glider for their first time ever. We call it a discovery flight. And a discovery flight is piloted by an experienced, rated commercial pilot who's sitting on the back so the passenger is in the front. The glider is attached to the tow plane in exactly the same way as the previous glider. A discovery flight is a really good option for somebody to have fun or to determine if they want to take glider lessons in the future. While the tow plane is busy, this gives the perfect opportunity for the private gliders to get themselves ready for launch. We use specialized equipment like the tail dolly in order to maneuver these gliders on the grass on the ground. They are removed prior to flight. Glider pilots who fly single-place gliders like this often choose to have their own parachute that they wear in flight for safety reasons. There is a boom microphone that's connected to a radio that helps us communicate with other gliders and on the surface. The instrumentation is somewhat minimal but provides adequate information for safe flight. There is a stick that moves left, right, and forward, backwards that control the different surfaces in order to turn the plane or help with the climb and descent. One of the things that we are really proud of is being able to introduce young people to the world of aviation. Here is one of our youngest club members who's getting ready for a solo flight. He's building up hours towards becoming a private pilot. And on this particular day, he was able to stay up for an incredible 3.5 hours, all in this trainer aircraft. Privately owned single-place gliders are often disassembled and reassembled just prior to flight. In that case, it is very important to ensure that all the controls are hooked up properly and operating as intended. We do that with the help of another person so they can test the controls as one person manipulates the controls in the cockpit. One surface at a time, they go through the entire aircraft. Earlier in the episode, we talked about maneuvers in a glider. So join us as we perform this one maneuver we call boxing the wake. Remember the debris that was coming out behind the propeller when the propeller was advanced on the tow plane? Well, this maneuver teaches the pilot to maneuver around it and be aware of the dangers that propeller wash could cause. Well, we have now made a full circle and come back to the question that we asked at the start of this episode. What happens if the tow rope breaks during a launch? Can you safely bring back the glider and land on the airport runway? Join us on this in-flight footage as we demonstrate exactly this. You notice the glider is coming up along with the tow plane. 100 feet. The pilot calls out the altitude so that he's aware exactly how high we are. Boom! I just pulled the rope release handle on purpose to simulate as if the rope broke in flight. The pilot immediately starts turning towards the runway, pointing his nose down, and he is controlling all the surfaces in order to be on proper speed and get back in alignment with the runway. We make small calculated adjustments in the maneuvers so that at all the time we are in perfect control of the aircraft. Notice that we are back lined up with the runway, and there it is, we are back safely on the ground. The little bounces or because of the grass surface and the fact that the runway itself is a little bouncy. But the point is, we are back safely, so it is possible to return back when the tow rope breaks. After successfully demonstrating all the required maneuvers, including box the wake and what happens if the tow rope accidentally breaks on launch, this pilot is ready for his solo flight. Notice there is a helper to ensure the wing is level on takeoff. The glider comes up first and then patiently waits for the tow plane to take off and follows it on the climb out. In the air, the glider follows the tow plane directly behind him, matching his bank and the climb rate as necessary. Now it's time for the glider to release. There is a release, and notice that the glider makes a right-hand turn while the tow plane makes a left-hand turn to ensure they are separated for safety. It's now time to set up for the traffic pattern and landing. Here's the glider pilot on his solo flight, nice and level, lined up with the runway, slowly controlling the descent rate and watching his airspeed and alignment carefully. He's patient to make sure he does not force the landing. And what a sweet landing it was for his first ever solo landing. Nicely done. Hope you enjoyed spending a day with us at the glider port in Hartford, Wisconsin. If you enjoyed it, make sure to reach out to your local soaring club to arrange for a discovery flight. If you enjoyed this episode of Aviation Intrigue, make sure to like and subscribe and join us next time on Aviation Intrigue.
This is